Good evening, ladies and gents. Well, we're back with another set of games for you, best of three. This evening, we're going to be watching Team Wales take on Team Lithuania, and I'm joined by Jammer as always. How are you doing, Jammer?
Yeah, I'm okay. Just a bit delayed, but happy that we're actually getting some games going.
Yep, indeed. There has been a delay this evening, unfortunately, due to another tournament going on. Two of the Team Wales players needed to play in that, so they forfeited the first map. The first map in our case was Ancient. It was a Wales pick, so they forfeited 16-0, which will come up on screen anyway when you're looking at it. We do move into map 2, however. Map 2 is going to be Mirage, and if we do get to the penultimate third map, it'll be Inferno. I think after yesterday's showing on Mirage, we saw hints of greatness from Team Wales, but this Lithuania side is a very, very, very stacked lineup of some would say former superstars within the tier one Counter Strike community. I'll let you talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, we've got a really stacked Lithuanian squad here. There's the three core, and that will be Matti, Luki, and Quick. And then you have the two star players, as Nick was mentioning, and that would be Kalinka and Esperanto, nonetheless. So it's
Yeah.
probably the most stacked team that we've got in this Europe qualifier group stage. But I'm just hoping that Wales are up to their task and can make it respectable.
Yeah, Esperanto is a former favorite player of mine. From his days with Imperial. I think everyone's going to be aware of those sort of days. Klinker, you may have heard of Klinker if you were a fan of Hellraisers, and I'm almost positive that was back in April last year. He wasn't really around all that much. I think he played a few games and that was it. He didn't really play an awful lot. As far as tournaments and that were concerned, it was mainly the CIS, the European kind of brand or band of tournaments that he played in, but still a very good player nonetheless. Played for quite a number of different teams over the last 5+ years, I think now. Esperanto doesn't really need any introduction, I think is probably the best way to label it. He is a former professional player. I don't think he's playing for anyone at the minute. I think he's retired, or he's retired, and I do that with the quotation marks, Jammer, of he's retired. But are you ever really a retired CS player? Well, technically you are, but sort of. Anyway, Imperial is the main lineup that he came from, of course, and with Imperial did quite a lot of damage as far as how the the European CS scene looks at it. DreamHack 2018 winner, Copenhagen Games 2018 winner. There's quite a stacked two-man lineup there, and if they can kind of feed that greatness into the other three players from Lithuania, I think, and I'm going to quote you, and I'm going to say that it's you that said this originally, but this is a team to really watch for throughout the entirety of this tournament. They are going to be, your kind of heavy hitters going forward.
Yeah, I mean, when you're speaking about heavy hitters, this is pretty much as big as it gets for a tournament like this. You've got your core three who have been playing together for...
Apologies, my Discord for some reason has just dropped connection on Jammer, so I don't think we can hear him. We can see him talking.
It's just, it is a really David and Goliath moment, and that's perfectly, capturing what this Wales squad are in for their situation right now. Because on their side of things, talked about the forfeit, they are actually playing, or I think they're playing with a coach standing in. I'm not 100% sure on that because of how the admins were treating the setup to this match, but it really is a hampered Wales squad right now, for the time being at least. And that was because players had prior engagements on Premier League for other tournaments and things like that. They obviously had to forfeit the first map, and that's going to be it's about as bad as you can leave things right now for Wales. They've got their backs against the wall. They're already a map down in a best of three. It's just like walking on a tightrope, and then Lithuania are a tornado heading your direction.
Yeah, exactly. And I think to kind of preface this, the conversation that we're having at the moment with regards to the way the setup has been from an admin perspective, it's not been the best. If I'm completely honest with you, you and I are fortunate enough that we have the ability to see quite a few different conversation channels within the Elliott regional qualifiers Discord, and there's one thing when you quote the rule book to someone and then they turn around and say to you, that's not how we do it, and you're like, well, it's in your rule book, so how can you not do what's in your rule book, kind of thing. I think at the minute, if I'm not mistaken, I'm getting word from them that we might actually end up rescheduling if the admins agree to reschedule. Ping, unfortunately, is still out at the moment, playing in a different tournament. So I can see Anders is trying to negotiate, I think is probably the best way to put it, with the admin, and say, look, we need our extra man. And at the end of the day, you've already allowed one other team, I think it was. They've allowed one team to reschedule already, which I think is Sweden, Portugal, not in our group, in Group A.
In a different group. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we can't really comment too much about that because obviously admins are going to do things their way, and at the end of the day, they're the refs that we have to live the law by their hand. And
exactly,
you just deal with the hand that's dealt to you. So
yeah.
Wales, they're not in the best spot right now, but it's kind of just what they need to pick themselves up with and deal with at the minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully we can get some news for you in a timely manner. Just seeing, what negotiations can be brought forward.
Tag me in, coach. Chuck me in as a sub. I'm happy to jump in and play for Wales. Why not? I doubt that will ever happen, to be completely honest, Jammer. Like, as much as I've got Welsh blood coursing through my veins, but I don't think I don't think John and the rest of the Team Wales guys are really going to want that to happen. Which is unfortunate.
I don't know if passion is the only thing you need to carry you through in a game of CS, mate.
That's true. I'll be completely honest with you. I think it is. I'll check my Team Tan jersey on, or my Team Yard jersey, whichever one I want to grab, and I think I'll be good to go. Yeah. So we're going to take a very small break while we figure out what's happening with the lineup for this map. I can see the Lithuania side are already in the server, ready to go, but at the moment, no Team Wales just yet. So we'll be back with you very shortly. Hello, we're back. Sort of. I should say sort of. We are back, but we're still waiting on one additional player to jump in from Team Wales, but the admins have allowed them to delay ever so slightly so that we can wait for that additional player to jump in. How are we feeling, Jammer? Ready to rock and roll as soon as this player jumps in?
I mean, I know we are. We're ready, gunning to go. We want to get some Counter-Strike action in our veins.
Yes.
Get it straight in, but as for the players, I don't know how they're going to be feeling. It's definitely going to be a frustrating moment on either side, because obviously you hate delaying for any reason. You're scheduled to be there at a certain time, and then you turn up, and then the other team's not ready. And then on the other side of things, if you're a team that needs to reschedule, then just like hoping, willing, and waiting that everything can go together as quickly as it can. But I'm just hoping that everyone's ready to go and not overly frustrated.
Yeah, exactly. I figured while we had a bit of time to wait, we talk a little bit about Operation Riptide, which snuck its way onto the update servers yesterday for everyone. So people in NA were going, "Oh my god, we got an update," and then people in EU were going, "Wow, what's the update thing?" Because they're like all half asleep while they actually dropped on us. But I can't remember how long ago the last update was from CS where it was this extensive, like 2 gigabytes worth of updates, flooding into the game, and then a repatch on top of that immediately after to fix some of the bits and pieces that snuck through the net of quality testing. But like, there is just an abundance of changes that have happened, some of which are more pertinent to what you and I look at, like for example the M4A4 M4A1S update, which I tweeted yesterday, and I'm already going to get my ass kicked for this, I know I am, but I really do genuinely feel like the king of CT rifles is back. Having that increased body damage is going to make players want to grab that rifle up more, and really put the 25 round magazine to work. Yes, you don't have as much ammo as the M4A4S, but realistically speaking, the amount of ammo is non-existent if you can hit them all in body shots. You know what I mean? Or hit all heads, as they say. But I kind of wanted to know your thoughts, because I know you were kind of talking quite a bit yesterday about the deagle changes.
Yeah.
You're more of a deagle person than I am.
Yeah. Yeah, so the deagle has been nerfed a little bit. It's a lot harder to get those 2-shot body shots for a kill now. I don't think it's impossible, but yeah, it's just a little bit harder.
Yeah.
So yeah, slight tweakings to the game, which is understandable because of how aged it is at this point, but I like everything that they've done, I'll be honest. You know, change is inevitable and change is good for the game. It'll keep it fresh for the people that have been playing for those extensive amount of years. And it's just something new to deal with and adapt to, which is, you know, never really a bad thing. I know you were saying there was some people that would, you know, you get grumbles and complaints from any change that comes into effect, but honestly, on my end, I can't really see any big problems or, you know, discrepancies from myself with this update.
I think the thing of it was yesterday, it was more like the timing of the update drop. That's what people were grumbling about. You know, we got majors that are going on at the moment. We've got qualifiers that are going on for ourselves, what you and I are taking part in. And I think it was just kind of, there was a bit of Valve have never been the sort of company to time it with tournaments and time it with people. It's always when they're ready, it drops. And that is like, you don't have an option. It's going in whether you like it or not kind of thing. But it would be nice to see a little bit more communication between you know, Valve and tournament organizers, or at least a forewarning, you know, of right, this is dropping on this day. You know, make sure that you plan around it, kind of thing. But I don't think we're ever going to get that. A lot of other esports organizations and esports related games do that. Siege being a perfect example of it. Siege will tell you when they're going to be doing an update. There'll be like little blog posts that'll go out saying an update is due. It's going to be coming in the XYZ amount of days. You know, so it's kind of strange then when you look at how massive Counter-Strike is, and that's never been the case where you get a forewarning to update. Some of the tweaks and changes that have happened, I haven't actually seen Dust 2 yet, but apparently the mid change, the visibility tweak from T-spawn through to mid is quite prevalent. And also there's some changes towards the back of B site from tunnels. But the 3 maps that really have had changes is Dust 2, Inferno, and Ancient. And I think Ancient was asking for an update, and we even spoke about this in previous tournaments. It needs that slight tweak, you know, with the penetration side of things as far as the plywood services are concerned, and just some general tweaking. We are live, by the way. They are going to do knife round, which they don't do, of course, because it's already been dealt with. But once the sides have been selected correctly, I'll switch us into game mode and we can have a look to see what Team Lithuania are going to do for us this evening. Yeah, I don't know about you, but I just feel like, are they going with knife round?
No, this is live. This is pistol round.
Oh, what? Oh, sorry, I thought there was knife round. I'm looking at a player with a knife in their hands, and I thought it was the knife round. My apologies. There we go. We're straight in with live gameplay for yourselves. Team Wills are on T side. We will get that switched over in just a second for you. But the match is good to go, and well, Team Wales have dominated the entirety of the site immediately and taken control of A site in a super fast fashion. Got that bomb plant down and standing by, ready to stop this one additional player. This player name I'm going to allow you to say first and foremost, Jammer, so I don't get it wrong.
Just quick, or quick.
Quick.
But yeah, he's on his lonesome. But there's 2 players to find. Ooh, it's really, really tense right now because Kaiser's playing fiddle with his life and he's going to escape with it just for the time being. And well, it does seem like Wales are going to lock in a pistol around. The time's ticking too low, and there we go. It's happened. The astute viewers actually out there might realise that this is the exact pistol round that Wales forfeited in their previous matchup yesterday. That was against Austria, and that was the exact same strat that Austria used on their T-side pistol round.
Yeah, exactly the same, identical in every way. Team Wales, however, do start things off on the front foot against, again, we've said it time and time, well, I said it quite a few times in the pre-match warm-up, quite a dominant, potentially, Team Lithuania. This CT side hold from Lithuania, I mean, Not quite sure of the M4 buy, but I can see obviously they've all bought themselves down to 50. Matty there opening things up with that first initial headshot. He'll get a second, a third, Lord. As Anders and Nova fall immediately back to back, and that is just... the sound is deafening within the server when someone comes out and does something like that, and that is a complete flip on its head from Lithuania. What an incredible round from Matty there.
Yeah, honestly, that was an insane round from him. A triple deagle, takedown from apartments, and you can see a little bit of that regimented, pushing and pathing from Wales not being up to form. When you're pushing out of the apps like that as a 5-man, you need to be pushing out and making space for the people ahead of you. In that round, Matty just had his crosshair in one place, and all he had to do was click mouse 1.
Yeah, basically, that's literally all he had to do. They timed it. Well, they one by one walked through his line of sight, and he just, as you said, tapped heads. That's all he needed to do. Lithuania clawed that round back, and they retained 2 AKs out of it as well. Also, that'll definitely help things out as far as economy is concerned later into this first half. Ooh. Imi's going to answer back though with a deagle headshot of his own. Can't help but feel this is going to be a short-lived push into A. Kaiser there being the last man standing. Esperanto, I should say, being the man of the hour for me at least anyway. Not going to fanboy, promise. We'll finish that round off for us.
Yeah, well, that is indeed the case. I dropped for a second there, but we're back. And, well, I'll tell you what is happening. Lithuania are running away with things. Wales are going to be knocked back onto an eco, and I think this is going to give us a bit of respite for the future rounds where it will be a little bit more contentious. But just early days looking so far, it does seem like Lithuania are keen to stretch their muscles, stretch their legs, and just have a field day with it. Kind of seems like, for now at least, Wales are going to have a hard time at things. They did have a strong start, but that's really kind of where it started and stopped, and there's not even going to be a kill on this full eco round. Esperanto getting 4 kills there, so he'll be able to tally up some kills on his scoreboard.
Yeah. Not enjoying that at all. Esperanto just basically slapping all the heads possible down mid, and he'll dominate the entirety of it. That AWP getting dropped to him as well. Also, he's going to look to potentially push that push that onto A site. Give us a chance to see that AWP work again, as we've seen in previous tournaments from him. But look at the way that Team Wales have kind of adapted off the back of this. They're trying to make some headway towards mid. They're pushing 3 men down there. Anders is going to be the first to fall, but Nova's going to be able to answer back, and Kaiser and Nova are chiming in against 2 players of their own. Kaiser again through smoke. He's just not got enough in the tank, unfortunately, and Kalinka will drop him. It's all on Imi to do something with this, but look at his position. He's got A control entirely. He knows that Kalinka is going to be off A, potentially loop it around the back of him, or even potentially going through B to CT control. Bomb recovery is going to be super important here, and Imi's going to need to make a decision relatively quickly off the back of that as to which direction he wants to push, either A or B. You would expect him to go A though, wouldn't you, in fairness, Jammer, given how much clearance he's had on it?
Yeah, you just walk through the A site and the bomb's down and bottom connector. Now Emmy's completely out of position. Kalinka playing the big brain game, the wrinkly brain play, as you would call it, and he just locks in that round from the moment that he just, ran away from the bomb itself. That not something you'd say every day, but that's what happened.
Yeah, that is what happened indeed. Crazy, absolutely crazy round there from both teams actually. Team Wales more or less pushing Lithuania to the brink, but Kalinka they're able to answer back for his teammates. Esperanto will start things off, and Imi is the first man to fall. Pigman fall immediately after, and Esperanto is on a tear at the minute on mid as he looks to lock down that control site as best as possible. Anders will chime back in, but this round is over with, and Team Lithuania go 5-1. Not to forget, Team Lithuania had a forfeited map from Team Wales, so this is why they have 1 map to the better. So Team Wales really need to start waking up in this game, otherwise they're going to be out of this best of 3 within our first map of watching gameplay, at least anyway, Jammer.
Yeah, it really is an uphill battle, and Wales needed that strong start to be able to, come back into things and take it to a third, because they're going to need to win 2 maps in a row to take the series, and they're not having the best start.
They're really not.
Kind of one of those moments where you grit your teeth and just push forward and see what you can get, and they're going to get 1 kill in middle, so that's a strong start. There's a second.
Kaiser.
Kaiser getting some entries, and that's left the B site open. Wales won't realize this, and they could walk into the trap, walk into the lion's den that Lithuania have laid for them. They stop pushing up connector, and this is where it starts getting hairy. Esperanto, danger man that you brought up earlier, he's going to get the first, and now he's made his location known. Rest of Wales is jobs and opinions to move around him, but there you go. Matty's been taken out, and suddenly things are a bit more doable. Well, Wales, it's all on the cards for you now. Just need to make up this push, make up this movement, and I don't think they've realized that Klinker's going to be in the back lines. These pushes and lurks from Lithuania are working out so well, but there we go. There's another falling into the favor of Wales, but the bomb, this is critical. Pingman goes down, Anders goes down, and suddenly the bomb is in questionable, control. Klinker will be forfeiting it, trying to go for those long rotations again. He's done it once, he might try and do it twice, but with 30 seconds left, Wales should be able to lock in the plan.
Yeah, you'd expect him to be able to get that plan down and locked into place. I mean, Klinker favouring these long rotations. If it's working, don't fix it, so to speak, and he's able to connect that first hill. Kaiser's going to have to get post-plant positioning with an interest to maintain some control over that connector position. But, I mean, look at this rotation coming in from Klinker again. This is the third time that we've seen him really push in this map into a completely different situation to allow him all that space to retain. And that's a well-deserved win for me, to be honest with you. I am 100% Welsh, and I'm pure blood Welsh, so to speak. But even I will admit that is an incredible round from Klinker.
Yeah, you just got to respect class when it's presented to you. And this man has a class in spades, a 4K on the round, and he's just going around the world on this map. He started in Palace, remember, pushes through to ramp, and then rotates all the way around to middle and even CT spawn. He's just going on a trek. He'll walk 5,000 miles to be at Wales's door, and he's going to come up winning every time in this scenario.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, he went around the world. He literally did it at the T-side strat around the world, and it worked out for him. Anders will chime things off to begin with, but Esperanto is going to be hot on Team Wales' heels, taking down Nova. Klinker again. Another danger man has come forward, and Klinker is that danger man. Esperanto and Klinker, however, will get taken out. Anders there taking two big scalps from Lithuania, and Matty and Kiravas left standing to try and defend this side from Team Wales. Pingman and Anders quite low on HP, but they can still make things work, and Anders is still chiming in to make things work. That's Matty taken down, and it's now 1v2. I think Karinkas has got Molly underneath him as well, because he took some tick damage on the way through. That rotation now coming into connector. That missed shot sends a lot of information to Team Wales, and they can stack themselves up to get a two-man peak if need be onto this sole remaining CT player.
Yeah, they can indeed, and Quick has it all to do a 1 versus 2, but Wales did have a perfect crossfire and not in position at the right time, and that's going to leave things open. Quick almost getting caught out there, but Emmy, he's got it all to do, and this is going to be a lock-in. Pros don't fake, but Emmy's going to swing out and bring out the kill, and there we go. Wales get a second round on the board. They just need to continue that momentum and put a second, third, maybe even a fourth. But this is the point at which they need to switch up the pace, switch up the momentum, and bring it back to their favour.
Yeah, indeed. We need to see more of that kind of dynamic play that we saw from them in pistol round. Making those early choices, getting that, that man advantage into sight. Kind of pushing that limit of Team Lithuania. Klinker and Kiravas can't be allowed to pick up these heads so early on. With like the way that they have, unfortunately, and that two-man trade-off for the one is just not really beneficial from a Team Wales standpoint. They need more chances to kind of push themselves into these dangerous positions. I love the rotation plays coming from Lithuania, not just taking into consideration Klinker, but look at the way that we've got Matty and Luke here, or Lucky, I think you said his name was pronounced.
Oh, Quick,
sorry.
Yes. It is Quick, and he will die quickly. But
yes,
I think I want to just bring into question, just the sheer firepower that Lithuania have. I think that's really brought to bear in this round, because they just push out in places that you wouldn't expect, and they are being dynamic, but realistically they shouldn't be getting away with the things that they're doing right now, and it has, by virtue of the situation we've found ourselves, resulted in a all intents and purposes round win. It's all up to Emmy though to clutch this one out, and looks like he's got the space to get a bomb plant. That's going to be money in the bank, but well, the round win isn't going to be.
Now, 7-2 will be a scoreline as we start heading into the die-in stages of the first map. I say the first map, the first half of this map, I should say. You what? Second map, yeah. So we, I feel like there needs to be some adjustments from Team Wales there to kind of counteract what we're seeing from Team Lithuania. You as a former coach, have you got any insight for me that you can kind of spread? What you would change up in the Team Wales side at the moment?
Yeah, so far, the round that we saw work, it was kind of that slow trudge in middle, and they were lucky to be off the timings for those flash peaks into middle. And it really was just Lithuania pushing into their own deaths, and that's kind of something that's unreliable. You can't always expect your enemies to just push into your crosshair and, die at your hands. So right now, I think they need a mix-up, change-up, and they've gone for something, but they're just not prepared. They're not given the respect by Lithuania to pull off something like this. And oh my god, it's a bloodbath. Matty with a 4K, quick to close things out with one of his own, and that's as quick as it started. That's Wales losing momentum.
Yeah, losing a lot of momentum there. I mean, Matty be able to get back through and into lower and play the backliners like that just sends shockwaves through Team Wales, and there was no reaction off it as well. He's dropped one player, and by the time that information was relayed out to the rest, he's already taken down another 3. Just needs to be a little bit more fluid coming out from Team Wales. Speaking of fluid, however, Matty and Esperanto have locked down the entirety of mid, and there is no way of taking back control from them two with pistol round like this. Quick will take down Emi, and it is a 1v5 from Anders. Big up the Anders, man. I want him to do it, but it seems like a big task, really, to get a 1v5, in fairness.
He's a coach, he's a manager.
Yeah, he's everything, man. He's everything you want him to be. Come on, Anders. He is literally gonna kill the pair of us for speaking about him like that, by the way. I just want to point that out. He gets one. He had it as well. It was in his grasp. Nightmare. Well, he'll pick up one at least anyway, and the money is good, for that. I think that's we'll swing it like that, Jammer.
Returning things to normalcy, though. I think Wales need to focus on pushing this middle area together, because we've seen Lithuania time and time again are more than happy to put aggressions on that side of the map. So if they want, they can go for a more aggressive A-lean, through a default, have one holding passive middle. They don't need to use all their utility very early on like they have been doing so far. And kind of sit 1, maybe 2B, holding the extremities, because as soon as something like this happens, there you go, there's a window of opportunity, and Matty's been caught off. He's short, and he needs to respect this now. Okay, but he is gonna get some respect from Kaiser, who jumps into the waiting hands of his Molotov, and Pingman gets caught out in the middle. There we go. Things are going wrong for Wales just as it was going right, and it's all onto Emmy with the AWP. That's so unfortunate. But they were doing the right thing to start with. It was just a bit of a lack of execution there that didn't carry them through. But yeah, just as we wait for this round to close out, I just want to recap that round. Like, they get a kill on the extremities, a player pushing in through B, and then off the back of that, they try and brute force their way through B. And the utility from Lithuania is good, but it's, they gave them a lot of space to work with. It was just being caught out in terms of firepower and the entry pathing. That's something that's been a problem all the way through Wales's tournament journey. Yeah,
it really has. We saw that quite a lot yesterday on this map in particular. It's not really what you want to kind of see. Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to think of the best way of putting it in the politest possible way, but optimal is definitely the key word for it. There will be a player drop though from Lithuania. Klinka falling there to a pop flash from Nova, and the final frag going Emi. Bomb plant, however, that's big, especially in a pistol round like this. That'll give them quite a fair bit of cash to build up their coffers into the next round after this. And this retake should realistically be quite simple from Lithuania, but we'll see how it develops and continues going forward. Oh,
that's nice. That's
not nice.
Whipping the second Eagle shot. He will go down eventually in CT spawn. In jungle, but it is a 3 versus 2, and there's a rifle in Kaiser's hands. This is definitely doable, but Wales, they can't sit on their laurels. They need to be active about this. They need to be pushing in together, and that's a bit of a disjointed push. Esperanto, he gets taken out barely by Pingman, and there's a third round for Wales just when they needed it most. He even retains the AWP, and that's a glimmer of hope. that's a glimmer that they need to take advantage and push through. You know, when you put your foot in the door and stop it from closing, which Wales just have done, they need to make sure that they've got some oomph behind it to continue that push.
That's such a massive round. That is a big round to win. They did exactly what we said, though, or what I said at least anyway. They needed to get that pistol round mentality back into it, swing into a sight in full force, lock down those angles that they've been punished quite often from Lithuania. Oh, Penguin. I'm going to shut up and let this man continue to play. Oh my days. Kalinka will finish him off, but the damage has been done. Kalinka will actually fall. Oh, Lucky will get a kill onto Anders. Nova's got his position locked down, and look at this damage that's been dealt with by Team Wales. That grenade will finish him off, and it's down to just the sole CT player left, and he's got no HP to work with. This is a 1v1, and Nova, realistically speaking, could seal the deal here for Team Wales, and he does indeed, and that's 10-4. How are we in this position these last two rounds, Jammer?
Mate, if Wales lost that round, I would have been so furious at Kaiser, because that's a hero CS play. It's a 1 versus 2. They have bomb control. He doesn't need to push that. They know where he is by virtue of the grenade. But you know what? It works out, so I'm not going to give him too much grief. It's just, those things worry me, Nick, because that is not the recipe for success.
No, there really isn't the recipe for success. That is... Whew. Hero CS at his finest, in fairness, and 10-4 is the scoreline. We say this every single time we see a scoreline like this, but 4 is still, dangerous territory for Lithuania. It's recoverable from a Team Wales perspective. Penguin will finish off Matty. There's trades going everywhere here as Esperanto now finishes off Kaiser, looking to try and hunt as much as possible. Kalinka will miss that orb shot, but he won't miss the second, and Bomb Planting will drop. That's Anders finished off, and Nova's able to chime back in against Esperanto. This is just trade for trade at the minute, Jammer.
Yeah, right now, though, I feel like Lithuania are in the up-hand position because there's a man in the underpass, a man in the connector, a snake in the grass, and he's going to be venomous if he triggers at the right time. It's just a matter of timing and whether these players can spot out the right positions. Nova gets caught out, and there we go. Venom is hit. It is just going to be on Pingman. He's low HP, and that means that this MP9 is still just as lethal. It's got a little bit of time to work with, and Kalinka's unsure about his positioning, but it's just a matter of time, and there we go. 11-4 is the score at the end of the half. And Lithuania, they're in strong position.
They really are. Look at those round differences. I mean, like the round difference is blatant, but look at the way those rounds being played out. The entirety of Team Wales just getting dominated back to back there in rounds that you really want to start clutching through with. Let's see what the CT side is going to be like though from Team Wales. We head straight into the action and see if Pingman and the rest of the boys from Team Wales can recover a pistol into the second half.
Well, they have a tall task ahead of them because Lithuania, they've gone for a wide spread on their pistol round, and that can be a spanner in the works because we know this Welsh squad, they don't over-rotate, but they can be sold a fake every now and then. It does seem like there is going to be an A-split ending up in this matchup, and there's 2 in connector. This is a really good setup if those A-side players from the T-side can't push out, but it doesn't matter because the middle players have taken out connector, and suddenly things are a bit more worrisome for Wales. They need to hold this jungle control, and Anders going down means it's a lot harder of a task. Even CT, and, well, it's a task too tall. Emmy has got it all to do. 1 versus 4. There's 1. Might be able to get 1 more, but seems like a matter of time for me, Nick.
Yeah, it really does. They're going to be able to have used that jump boost as well to get himself into... the backstab.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. I was going to say, they're going to have heard him do the run boost to get himself up into mid window, and it's just a matter of time, unfortunately, in that one. 12-4 is the scoreline. Well, I say 12-4 the scoreline. For some reason, it's showing the other way around, but we're going to get that switched up for you very, very quickly. I think we're all completely clear that it's 12-4 in favour of Lithuania, of course. Yeah, that pistol round not going the direction that Team Wales really wanted to. There was a lot of domination coming in from mid-control, and they just seemed to back away from it a little bit too much and allow that extra bit of space for Lithuania to really play with.
Yeah, and I feel like this is the kind of respect that Lithuania weren't giving Wales, which is, how they were able to get such an advantageous position on their CT side. As you can see there, Nova's trying to bring about the same energy, trying to give them no respect, but it just results in a B-site loss as Emmy gets taken down, and suddenly it's all on the cards for Lithuania to put things on to 13th round for their scoreboard. Oh, That's
Oh,
nice, and Pingman's got his back as well. There's a double duo in market, and they can definitely make something of a comeback here. 3 versus 3 is on the cards, and that timely flash could have been used for great effectiveness, but it's unable to be put into place in the way that you'd want it to, and suddenly things are a bit more dire as it's all onto Pingman, and he gets taken out. And there we go, 13th.
yeah. You could see the frustration there from Matty a few seconds ago, trying to get that tap, and it just didn't seem to want to work in his favour. In the end, having to like reposition almost to squeeze off that kill in the end against Kaiser. 13-4 is the scoreline. 18th round played, of course, for us now, and Lithuania looking to kind of seal this deal relatively quickly into the second half. Big pistol round coming up from Team Wales. They're going to try and compete against the AKs that you can see in hands of Lithuania, and that grenade is massive against Emi.
Man, it's so hard to play against rifles, but especially when the firepower of Lithuania is heading in your direction, it's just gonna be a bloodbath here. Anders gets spammed through the box. There's no remorse, and Emmy gets taken out as well. It is just on to the single Nova, but the single Nova can't do much, and he gets taken out. 14th on the scoreboard. Are we going to start talking about nails in the coffin, Nick?
I think we're already past that point, to be honest with you, Chandler. I'm at the moment, Team Wales are getting fitted up for a suit. They're about to get put into the coffin, to be completely honest. This is unfortunately this is the issue with having the timing of the tournament the way that it was. I think if we'd had map 1, there would obviously be a bit more fight in Team Wales. There's been a big delay as far as when this game started, and that delay, I think we'll all agree, will have a big impact on how your players will play. Pingman there warmed up a little bit, however. He is the man that we were waiting for, and he's got 2 for his name at the moment.
Goes out for a bit too much, and there we go. There's a nice trade from Kaiser. So it is all onto Matty, a 1 versus 4, but if you can get a bomb plant, that's pretty much a win, because they have enough economy to be buying up into the next 2 rounds. He is going to bide his time, and the bombs disappeared. There you go. That's going to trigger a rotation from Nova just to make sure that no funny business, no hanky-panky can occur. And, well, it seems like we're just going to run the clock down. But just talking about the, setting of this matchup, Wales did lose their game last night, and they were kind of looking to come back and get a bit of a stronger showing today, but they were handicapped because a couple of their players, their star players, you might even say, aren't able to play today. And, well, you can see how that's affecting the server because a manager, he's in the server, but he can't quite close out the kill there. And that's Matty and Orp, actually. Okay, there we go. It doesn't end up affecting the game, but you can see it does affect the mentality of these players and the fights that they go for.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, you'd expect now Lithuania to buy up deep into this round. They want to seal the deal and get themselves on match point, but the issue with doing something like this is that it puts them on a really back foot if Team Wales can kind of recover themselves again into this next round. So only time will tell. Of course, if Wales can really put a hurting on Lithuania into round 20, then that could spell a little bit more disaster for Lithuania and maybe a recovery of at least 2 or 3 more rounds from Team Wales. Matty, however, is going to chime in first, and Anders is the man to receive that chime. Kaiser doing whatever he can really to delay as much as possible, but we can already tell the rotation hasn't come from that direction. Oh. Pingman, oof. That was quick time. Easy mode.
There's a much needed lifeline birth to Wales, and they're going to get another. It's a 2 versus 3, but the bomb's been taken to B site, and B site is where Lithuania have control of. They are on the verge of putting a 15th up because as soon as this gets locked in, it's suddenly a lot more even. And Quick, he's pushing into market. We've just seen how lethal this can be. He gets 1. There's another flash. Almost gets the second off the back of it. And oh my lord, this is so good util usage. The Wales, though, they just recover things, pushing together, and suddenly they've got another lifeline.
Yeah, that was very much a fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me moment there with that second flashbang. Penguin was really lucky not to get connected with that AK, but he managed to recover well. I mean, that just shows the confidence that you've got to have as a player, especially as an AWPer like Pingman is, to really push himself into, quite frankly, a really dangerous position, because that's, putting him in harm's way from 2 different shooters at the same time, and having the knowledge that your second man, Kaiser, I believe it was, has got your back in. 14-6 is the scoreline into round 21, and Kaiser looking to make good use of that underpass, but there's no one there for him to really be received by. And this is the danger moment I mentioned earlier on, where the economy isn't really there for Lithuania. They bought deep to try and seal the deal onto match point, and we're now backed up with pistols and a UMP in the mix.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about these pushes from Wales. They're keen to fight, and Anders is on the side, so that's why they're going to try and fight together. But this is already a lot of damage to be done to the Wales squad, and there's even more. So 2 versus 2, the bomb's running back to B, and suddenly the flip script has come to fruition because Wales, they're in a deficit position. They're a bit at a loss because the bomb's been taken to the other bomb site, and it's, a backstab that's on the cards for Matty. There we go. 1 versus 2 now. Pingman, he's good on the AWP, but a 1 versus 2 with the bomb in an I'm losing my words. An unknown location might be a bit too tall of a task. Nick, take over. Save me.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused as to the communication there from Team Wales. It didn't really make sense that Matty was allowed so much room to maneuver on the back line to get that backstab done. The communication wasn't really there to say, look, there's potentially a guy behind us. Keep an eye out, kind of thing. Matty's going to seal the deal, however, and again get a second backstab into that round, and we're now 15-6 match point. Team Wales do have, I would say, a decent set of economy to try and buy into this round, but there's a few players that are looking very short of cash. Anders in particular, they're having to forfeit down to an MP9. Emi having to forfeit down to a Deagle. Yeah, there's unfortunately sharks circling at the minute, and Lithuania are out for blood.
Definitely are. Wales, they're going to need to rely on Pingman with this AWP to buy them a lifeline like they had in the previous 2 rounds. They got some early entries, but closing down the rounds has definitely been a problem. And, well, it doesn't seem like they're going to get an early pick. But, oh, no, he's giving his location away, and he can't adjust in time. There's the AWP taken out of the round, and suddenly Wales' chances just dipped. But just as I say that, the Deagle and the MP9 double up, and, well, they get some impact. But that impact's short-lived because it's a 3 versus 3, and Lithuania putting pressure on this A site. They are going to be putting all their pressure onto Anders, who is the coach, who is the manager, and he's going to have to put in a all day work here, but he's not up to the task, and suddenly it's up to Emmy and Nova to recover things. But just as I say that, Nova gets taken out, and the clock's ticking because Emmy, he's not long for this world. He gets the first, and Esperanza can lock it in. 16-6 to Lithuania. They win 2-0, technically. Well, they'll be happy with that one.
Yeah, they'll be very happy with that one. 2-0 in favour of Lithuania. Unfortunately, Team Wales do take another back foot loss there, unfortunately, as we head into the final game tomorrow against the Netherlands. It's unfortunate. I think we could both agree with that. Lithuania just really tipping the balance in their favour massively, unfortunately, into that first half, and the back foot really being shown by Team Wales as they moved into that second half. Jammer, any closing words from yourself before we kind of wrap things up for this evening?
I mean, just talking about Wales and recapping what happened, they were a little bit handicapped today, but I wasn't necessarily too disappointed with their performance today. We knew Lithuania were going to be big hitters coming into this. We knew they had the star power, and I wasn't ashamed with what Wales brought to the scoreboard. They weren't necessarily overly shy. They weren't playing to lose, but yeah, just too strong for Lithuania today.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you, and definitely Team Wales, going from strength to strength in some ways, but when you're going up against players that Lithuania can really field, it's a difficult. And you put it perfectly. Before we even started this evening, it's an uphill battle ultimately, especially when you've forfeited the first match due to circumstances completely out of Team Wales' control. Otherwise, though, thank you very much once again for joining us this evening. If you want to stay up to date on everything that me and Jammer get up to, our Twitter details are below, at ReaperSteve1 for myself, at Jammer_CS for my one and only duo partner. If you want to know what's going on with EsportsWales, who are happily hosting us for the entirety of these qualifying rounds today, yesterday and tomorrow, please go ahead and follow them, as well as follow the Twitch page. Tomorrow night we'll be back with Team Wales versus Netherlands, and hopefully that first vital win on the board.